Hey there, we're Jason and Caroline Zook, a husband and wife team who believes life is just one big experiment.
This is the show where we share our journey as we figure out this ever-changing thing called life. We cover topics like running a business, traveling the world, and clawing our way out of debt, all with the hope of inspiring you to live, work, and create with more intention.
Life might bring its twists and turns, but when you know who you are and what you want, you're never really lost. Welcome to Wandering Aimfully, the show.
I'm Caroline Zook, this is Jason Zook, and we run Wandering Aimfully, which is an unboring group coaching program for intentional online business owners.
And we are coming at you today with 10 key decisions that we made in 2019 to double the growth of our business while also having probably the toughest year of our lives.
How did we do it? We're going to tell you.
So if you're listening to this in your favorite podcast player of choice, if you've been a subscriber of our show, guess what? That's coming back.
It is.
So March?
Yes, March. As of now, first week of March.
March 2020. Look forward to it.
We'll see if we get punched in the face next year.
Different name, different
possibly
format.
Possibly a different name, similar format, but maybe a little different.
Ooh, intriguing.
So anyway,
intrigue, desire.
Dropping little nuggets of excitement.
And then if you're watching this on YouTube, we will be recording the show like this, and that will be coming out at the same time. So you'll be able to watch it, you'll be able to listen, just like we kind of did before, and we'll see how it goes for 2020.
But if you're listening to this right now or watching it, I guess you're like, whoa, didn't see this coming.
Yeah, this is like a little surprise. We're like, hey, we're still alive.
We're still alive.
We still make things. We know how to turn on a video camera. So.
But the reason that we wanted to do that is because we were having a lot of conversations, wrapping up the year, and doing kind of our planning for next year. And we realized, wow, we were still able to grow our business, well, double our business actually, in monthly recurring revenue. And it was the worst year I've personally have ever had in my life. And for sure in our business. And I thought that is really interesting of sharing that with you guys, not only how we were able to kind of survive just a huge hit to our business, but actually grow within that. And we have 10 kind of key things that we did to do that, and it also kind of takes you on a review of our year if you're someone who's interested in the behind the scenes of someone else's business. I'm a super lurker, stalky like that.
Yeah,
so.
we also, for the past couple of years, we've always written a year-end review. This year, we're not actually writing year-end review. We're sharing it with our coaching folks, which is really fun, so that's kind of where it's going to be. But it's always a fun thing to look back and then look forward. So we'll do that at the end after we go through the 10 key decisions. And also, for any Plaxico fans at home, our dog, if you know him, he is right here.
You might get some good snoring.
You might get some snores. He might
cross your fingers.
Trample across. All right, let's jump into the first key decision.
I got notes here. Yeah, that's right. We're being more prepared these days. Okay, so the first key decision. We listened to customer feedback and launched a more niche flagship product. So these kind of go a little bit chronologically, but just paint the picture for the folks of kind of where we were at the end of last year.
I get it because we're in front of your painting.
Paint the picture.
This is your art studio where you do paint. Actually, it's your fart studio.
At the end of last year, and why we led to build without burnout.
So actually, I'll just even step one step further back. If you are just new to Wandering Aimfully, maybe you stumbled across this, you subscribed to our channel, you hadn't watched any other videos, you're like, wait, who are you people? I forgot. We started Wandering Aimfully in 2018 with the idea of combining both of our businesses together. We both had online businesses, and to come together because we had a lot of overlap in our audience and a lot of overlap in our skills, and we talked about a lot of the same things, and we just felt like there was a lot to share, a lot of experiences and things we wanted to kind of put out into the world through this ethos of wandering aimfully.
Plus, we were spending 95% of our time together, and we really wanted to up it to 98% of our time together.
You gotta get as much time spent together as possible to really test the relationship. So Wandering Aimfully started as a monthly membership program. So the idea was you could get access to all these courses that we've made. I have an online course platform called Teachery. I mean, we do. And a bunch of other stuff, and you would pay $100 a month to get that. And kind of our little twist was at the end of paying $2,000 total, you stop paying us, you never pay us again, you continue to get things. Okay. So we had evolved this. So
that was the product, a membership product.
Yep.
Wandering Aimfully, we did pre-orders kind of in
May of
2018, but officially launched in late August, early September.
Yep. Shout out to our pre-order buyers. You guys are awesome. And actually really fun. Those peeps have just finished paying off their membership. So you guys are rad.
They get everything in the future forever and never pay us again. So also some context about that time. We only had about 3 weeks or 4 weeks of good, like we launched the business before I came down with shingles.
Yes. So
and
that was...
So began the health journey of Carol from, fall of last year to fall of this year, and the hardest year of my life. But so we went through that, kind of came out the other side of that. And at the end of 2018, we were seeing that we were getting signups, but we were like, you know what? We're going to we were asking our customers, okay, what's preventing you from, maybe you're interested in Wandering Aimfully, but you haven't signed up yet. Like, what's the deal? Why don't you want to be in this membership? And a lot of them said, it's just too broad. I don't know.
Well, I think there were 3 things that I was hearing, because I'm very close to our customers.
That's your
why
realm.
They cancel, why they don't join. And there were 3 things. So one was, I'm very overwhelmed when I join, and that's why people cancel, because they're like, I just don't even know what to do. It's too much stuff, which is really interesting. The second one was what you were just saying, which is it's very broad. What exactly are you guys going to do for me? And even for us to explain it, like, it was very hard for us to explain who we were for, what problem we solved, how we were going to make that happen.
Every person, I think, when they're buying a product, wants that confirmation of, oh, this was created for me, and so I'm going to get use out of it. So that was another kind of hole.
And the third thing that we heard, and this started to kind of trickle in a little bit more, and we really just started to notice that it made sense, which was $100 a month for a membership program when you're not getting ongoing new things constantly that you can look forward to. It's weird. It's hard for people to wrap their head around paying for existing stuff and not getting new stuff on a consistent basis.
To be fair, we had originally had that loosely in our ideas. In September of 2018, we did this back to business basics. We kind of had a monthly theme, so we had tested that. But my health, when that took a downturn, we had to put it on hold. And I think that was the first time we realized, like, okay, we didn't really have a solid plan of thinking this entirely through from the beginning in terms of what people are going to get ongoing. So that was our first, again, you're going to find out a lot of nuggets that we picked up along the way that led to, I think, just honing things and optimizing them as the year went on.
And there will be many lessons that we hope you take away from this conversation, one of which being you're not going to create a perfect business plan. So we set out, we were planning everything, all this membership, all these things, all this stuff, and we didn't even think about, well, what's the ongoing, like we thought about it, but we just didn't have time to spend any resources on it. So
funny enough though, going back to the whole purpose of this first thing, we decided, it's funny to me that we didn't go back to the monthly thing. Our way of solving that problem was, let's give people one kind of flagship product. And let's really position the membership around this product, and that you get the other stuff as like an added bonus. And so we created a program called Build Without Burnout, because we wanted it to specifically be for people who wanted to transition out of client work to creating a digital course. Like, that's what we had. A lot of designers, a lot of freelancers, and that's the thing that we had done in our own businesses, was we did client work and then we transitioned away from it using digital courses. And our spin on it was, let's do the program over 6 months, so you do it a week at a time and you don't get burnt out, because we know from creating digital courses, if you try to do it in 3 weeks time, you're gonna go nuts. And also, we saw a lot of these other courses out there that teach you how to do courses. They don't talk about content. They don't talk about building an audience. Like, it's a little bit of a, not bait and switch, but hey, just build the course and they'll come. And it's like, no, there's a lot of other stuff that goes into it. So we built Build Without Burnout. We redesigned our homepage, and I think when we launched it, we got 30 new members.
It was about 30 new members that signed up. So we were on this like monthly launch schedule with Wandering Aimfully to promote it, to kind of open the doors. So we kind of did open and closed every single month, and it worked, but it just felt like it wasn't sustainable. It felt like if we weren't going to create something big and new like Build Without Burnout, we weren't going to get consistent sales for the membership. So I think that's kind of where this one finishes up, is listening to customer feedback. And I guess the interesting thing is, going even forward further about the customer feedback, that point about a membership seeming expensive at $100 a month, but coaching not seeming expensive at $100 a month.
We'll get to that.
Oh, okay, great. I didn't,
We'll get to that. But
teaser alert.
Again, like I said, we're picking up a lot of nuggets and we're listening to feedback along the way. So that was our first little thing that we tucked in our back pocket, is like, people are saying things about like, okay, $100 a month for a membership seems expensive. Even though you get way more than any other membership. But anyway, cool. So we were listening to that.
So key decision number 1, we listened.
We listened. We launched Build Without Burnout. That got us a nice little revenue boost. Number 2, So we decided to put our content schedule, which being the podcast and even social, on hold. And so the one thing that I wanted to point out with this is this is about the time where things were really, like in January, right when we launched Build Without Burnout, I really was starting to have the worst symptoms of my anxiety.
And we have a whole episode on anxiety if you want to go back. I think it's episode 26. Maybe, I can't remember. But
like I was like
debilitated.
So I could not work. And so basically we went down from having 2 people to work on the business to 1 person. And the reason I wanted to share this and why it's counterintuitively a way to grow is that sometimes you have to use situations like this to force you to decide what's important in your business. And so for us, unfortunately, the thing that we knew like could go and it kind of had to go was the content. And like that sucked because I do know that people loved the podcast.
Oh yeah. I mean, we sent out a survey after people joined the membership when it was a membership. And one of the reasons that probably, I would say about 30% of people who signed up, they said they found us through the podcast or through the YouTube channel. And so there was data that told us that this was working. This format was working to not probably be the entry point for people to become a customer, but to go check out articles, check out our site, check out the membership, come listen to the thing, go, oh yeah, these are my people. They resonate with me. They're not the like 7-figure business owner people. They're trying to do all that. They're intentional. They care about life balance. They care about doing work that matters and that feels important to you. And that comes through very clearly through this format.
Yeah, and I just think it's really interesting because I think when something like a really terrible thing in life happens or something that you didn't expect happens, I think some people feel like they just want to power through and do anything they can to make everything look like it's okay and to keep the content schedule going and to keep the social going so that you don't like, backslide or anything like that. And I just remember thinking like, if we try to keep this up, I'm never going to be able to heal. And something like mental health or a health crisis kind of puts that into perspective for you. I would like to note that I wrote in here something that I think you'll appreciate, which was a sports metaphor.
Oh, wow. Here we go.
Rare for me.
Let's see.
You told me about a term. I couldn't remember the term about when players, body management or like...
Oh, load management.
Load management.
Yeah.
Jason told me about this thing called load management in the NBA where players sit out games so that they can be fully at their top performance during the playoffs, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's what I wrote. I said, like basketball players that know they need to sit out before the playoffs, I knew that we had to sit out on our podcast and our content so that I could heal, so that I could come back to our business kind of full force.
Yep, and lesson that
Load management.
I'm going to try and come up with like a lesson. Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
I'm going to try and like pluck out a little lesson if I can from each one of these just from my brain.
Okay.
You have to find the thing that you can give up when you need more time. And so for us, social media is always the first to go. As great as it is to connect, as great as it is to feel like there's some back and forth and some really good interaction, it's the first thing we cut when we need more time.
Because it's the amount of time invested for the return.
Yep.
So we know that it's powerful, but you really have to pour a lot into social media in order to get a lot out of it.
Yep.
And so we know that if push comes to shove, we can pour that energy into something else that moves the needle more.
Yep.
That's just what works for our business.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Number 3, in the key decisions that we made to grow our business this year, we invested in my mental health recovery and made that a priority. So this kind of piggybacks off the last one, but we really decided that we were going to go all in on not fixing this problem, because by the way, anxiety is not a problem to be fixed. If you have mental health issues, I don't believe that you are a person who needs to be fixed, but in addressing this issue and allowing me to learn how to cope with it and come up with a solution so that I could be like a functioning person again.
Yep.
And I remember you sat down and you said, like, I was coming up with all of these ideas because I was so desperate. I was like, should we go to this neurofeedback person? Should I go to therapy every week? Should
Get my
I
head amputated?
Just
from
right off the top.
From the
Just
eyebrows
take
up.
it off the top.
Eyebrows up.
And you said, and I was like, but it's so much money, like all these things, it was a lot of money. And you just said, if there's like, what better thing to spend your money on than you healing and becoming like a whole person again? And I was like, okay, good point.
I mean, it's trips to Cabo, mental health. It's
so
close.
close. And so we just did everything that we could in that season. And we just said, we're going to figure out the business. Like, we didn't overly freak out about it and just said, this is our priority right now. And so during the spring, I saw so many doctors.
Yep.
I went to so many therapy appointments. I did whatever I could to discover the root of what was,
You took your first online course.
I took an online course on anxiety, and it actually was very helpful.
Yeah. I will say that this, just because we love being honest with you guys, and that's one of our core beliefs and core values when it comes to things at Wandering Aimfully. We went into debt to pay for all of these things, and we had climbed our way out of debt. We have another video on the channel of how we got out of $124,000 in debt a couple years ago.
Thankfully, my brain isn't that expensive.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where it was almost like a gut check for me, and maybe for you as well, to go, oh, I just don't want to get back into debt, but what's the point in not spending money on mental health? Because if you can't get better, like, it doesn't matter.
Right, and that's kind of what that entire number 3 is all about, is when you have something that's so disruptive in your life and you can't survive, like you can't get up and do anything in the day, and it's really inhibiting your livelihood as a person, you have to do everything in your power to address that.
Yeah.
And that has to be your top priority. And this might be a controversial opinion, but I don't care if it puts you in debt. I don't care, because there's nothing that is worth like spending money on more than you as a person and your vitality.
Yeah, we talked about that. I mean, it's easy to look back now and be like, spend all the money on your mental health and blah, blah, but like every new doctor that we saw, every appointment that we went to, like we kind of had like I don't really want to spend this money, but then we would just come back to like, what's the point of having money if not to spend it on making sure that you stay alive,
right,
or that you stay sane, or that you can get through the day? Because there was a time earlier this year when it was extremely hard for you to get through minutes in the day.
It was minute by minute, and I don't say that lightly. So, and truthfully, looking back, like had I not found my therapist, my therapist led me to the neurofeedback doctor. The neurofeedback doctor, who was very expensive, led me to the doctor who helped me with my nutritional deficiencies, and that was the thing that moved the needle the most for me.
Yeah.
Like I just found my nutrition and my vitamins and minerals were so out of sync in my body, and that was what, like I always have, you know, baseline anxiety, but that was like really causing things to be severe. Had we not said we're going to go all in on trying to find a solution, we wouldn't have found that, and I could still be in the place that I was before, and we could not be working on the business at all. So
we wouldn't be filming this video, that's for sure.
That's for dang sure.
Key lesson: invest in your mental health. Be willing to do that.
Right. Okay. Number 4, we experimented more often with marketing and sales efforts. We is a strong word, because during this time,
I didn't even know what you were saying until you said it. I was like, oh yeah, we.
During this time, I'm not working at all.
Yeah.
I'm watching every season of Survivor I can find.
How many did you get through?
7 or 8. There's like 40. Yeah, there's
more than that.
7 or 8, no, seasons, like full seasons.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
There's like a billion episodes in each season.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm doing anything to distract myself and to work on my mental health. I'm journaling every day. I'm taking my anxiety course. Anyway, my mental health was my job. Meanwhile, we need to pay the bills. So this hero over here was keeping the ship afloat, Plaxico. And you were like just experimenting left and right to try to drum up any more membership sales that we could. So talk to them about deciding to do the test drive, talk to them about doing the free trial, and all the different things that you tried.
So we, basically by the end of 2018, Wandering Aimfully's recurring revenue, I think, was at about
$7,000.
$7,000.
I think I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So it got to about $7,000,
yeah,
which is not enough for us to pay all of our bills and live our entire lives and all the things that we want. So we had to keep growing some way, because otherwise we were going to go into debt to continue to live, which is not fun. So I just kept trying to think of, okay, what are ways that we can get people to see the membership, to experience it? Because once people get in and they aren't overwhelmed by it, and they do feel like it's for them, and they see a clear path that they can work through, they really feel like it's an amazing value for the money spent, and they can learn some things, they can be in this community, they can get access to really me at the time. And so I just knew that I needed more people to be able to see what it was. So the first thing that I thought about was building this test drive experience where it wasn't just a free trial where you get in, you can kick the tires. It was actually me breaking down, I think it was the top 6 things that you would get. So it was the custom dashboard we built, and like how you could save all the things that you want to go through. It was a Slack community. It was one-on-one access to us. It was an example of how to build courses in Teachery. So it was all these different things, and you basically entered your email to check out the test drive. I think I sent like 2 or 3 emails manually to the first, I think it was 50 people. So I didn't want to set up an email sequence. I just didn't have time to like get all that stuff, because it's very technical.
Mode, right?
Yeah. So I just was sending emails to people, just being like, hey, thanks for signing up to the test drive. Let me know if you have any questions. Like a day later, I created this spreadsheet. So I would just follow up and be like, hey, any questions? Like, you see anything? And I started to realize as I sent these emails, a couple of them were resonating with people that they would reply with, and they would go, oh yeah. So then I built a little simple email sequence so that when people signed up, it would send them an email. So that was really great. The test drive experience did well for a certain chunk of time. And my hypothesis, my buddy Paul Jarvis and I talked about this, and I think he made a really good point, was everybody who was on the fence about joining Wandering Aimfully and had known about it, went through the test drive, it kind of confirmed that they wanted to join, and then they joined. Because at a certain point, the test drive, people were signing up for it, but then they weren't signing up for a membership, and it just kind of dwindled off.
So you're saying, based on your data, you figured it was a really good way to get people who were already kind of in the, for lack of a better term, funnel, to kind of the end of the funnel.
Yeah, so...
And close the sale, but not cold traffic.
Because it was basically like 1 out of 3 people or 1 out of 4 people in the beginning would sign up for a membership.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh, this is amazing.
I remember even in the midst of like my recovery, you coming in and be like, I figured it out.
Yeah, seriously, I thought I did. And then it just hit a point where it didn't work consistently anymore. But it was still getting people signed up to our email list and still getting people in and experiencing Wandering Aimfully. So that was really helpful. So then I did I ended up doing a free trial, which was a 7-day trial because I wanted to test if someone put their credit card in, basically said like, let me check this out for 7 days, and then they would either get kicked out or they would get charged. And that just had a really high churn rate. I mean, it was just not a lot of people signed up for it, and the majority of people that signed up canceled. And that just, I don't know, it just didn't feel right to me, and it didn't feel like it was something I wanted to keep doing moving forward.
Yeah.
So there was that, and then I think I even did a high touch thing where basically like you could set up a call with me and we could chat, and I didn't do that for very long just because I didn't have much time to do it.
Or like mental effort, because amidst all of this, like, obviously you're worried about me, you are
Build Without Burnout.
Yeah, you had to finish building Build Without Burnout because I got sick right at the end of when we were building it. All of that, you're doing all the cooking, all the cleaning, you're taking me to every doctor's appointment.
Running Tea Tree.
You're running Tea Tree, you're keeping all the bills being paid, like you really...
Kept Plaques alive.
And you kept Plaques alive.
Yeah,
and
that was the most important part.
So, but the point with that one, with number 4, is like, I don't know, I think, well, it's 2 things. It's if you're in a situation where you are, again, in survival mode, something has gone awry and you're trying to keep the business afloat. Keep the business afloat.
If you're trying to keep your business afloat.
I just want to remind you, like, what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Like, try whatever you need to try. Do the not non-automated emails.
Yes.
Do the high-touch thing. Like, just try it. Like, what do you have to lose kind of thing? And then, by the way, like, you got a lot of interesting data from doing all of that.
Absolutely. And I think for anything that came out of that for me was for us moving forward, it's to really try and be intentional about continuing to experiment, continuing to test sales funnels, for lack of a better term, and really see what resonates with your audience, because you may be a person watching or listening to this going, oh yeah, I have wanted to try a free trial, and boom, that thing works really well for your type of customer. But maybe it doesn't work at all, but you should try it and test that assumption. So that's really kind of the big takeaway from that one. It's also something we really try and preach now as unboring business coaches. The experimenter's mindset, constantly letting the data tell you if your assumptions are true or false, because so many times we count ourselves out before we even let the data tell us if we were right or wrong. And I just think those things are important.
Yeah. I wish I had the numbers here, because I feel like that really got us like quite a bit more.
During that time?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. So that time while I was doing all those experiments, I kind of remember because I was writing this Enough journal.
Right.
And I was kind of keeping up with that. It essentially went from 7,000 at the beginning of the year, and I think the highest it got to was 11,500. And so through all those experiments, almost doubled our revenue, and that was by like April. So that was in just a couple months doing all those things. Now, granted, I was working really hard to do all of this stuff, so I didn't feel like it was sustainable, and none of them felt like they were going to be a forever thing. And part of that goes back to the thing we were selling, the product, wasn't a perfect fit for people. It wasn't a perfect fit. Which we are still trying to figure out, but I think we've gotten a better fit.
I talk about this a lot in like, well, my necklace just broke.
Your necklace just broke?
You guys saw it live.
Oh.
It's just one of the links I think was loose.
This
is a charm for you.
Hello and welcome to the QVC channel with 2 people. I don't know why I went to a really bizarre...
I went to like a weird leprechaun-y place.
Yeah, that's kind of where I followed.
Here's a lucky charm.
For just $9.72, you can have this charm. There's only one. Call now.
And then that just took me into Miss Cleo. Call me now.
Come on, you got to do it. Call me now.
Oh,
you got to get into it.
That's a good Miss Cleo.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so where was I going? I went into the charm.
I don't know. Let's move on to the key
no,
point
this
because
is
we're going to be here for like
care.
6 hours.
I don't care.
Let's move on to key lesson number
Okay,
5.
fine. Okay, fine.
We went
Guys,
on.
I'm going to circle back. Number 5. We shared honestly and authentically with our community about what was going on. So I think this is really important. During this entire process, when I'm basically MIA, we were sharing about it. So we weren't on social or anything, but we did a couple of posts that were just like, hey, if you don't see us around here for a while, here's what's going on. And
there was one day you sat in a dog bed and there was a beautiful sunset and you were miserable, but I was like, I mean, this is a great photo. And I took the photo and shared it.
It just encompassed my mental state at the time. But the reason this is important is because I think too many people try to keep up this perfect image of online business, and they're so afraid to let their community see if they're struggling or if something in life is like not going perfectly. And we've never been that way just because I don't know how to fake stuff.
Well, I was that way during my I Wear Your Shirt days.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, and I learned some really hard lessons about that. When you set your business up to you always have to be on, you always have to be perfect, you always have to be in, like, everything's going right.
Yeah.
You set yourself up for failure because eventually something's going to hit you in the face. And if you can't be honest and open and kind of people scatter, like when the lights turn on, that's not good.
And
so you
I
want to be
learned
honest.
early on with Made Vibrant that the more honest you are, the deeper the connection you build with your audience, and B, the more that you attract people who can see you at your best and your worst. It's like dating. Like if you date a guy and you have to like go to sleep at night with a full face of makeup and you're afraid to have that guy see you with no makeup on.
Wouldn't that just ruin
It's
pillowcases?
exhausting.
Doesn't it ruin pillowcases?
I'm sure.
Yeah,
but
gross.
instead, you want to find somebody who can see you with your makeup on, see you without your makeup on, see you at your best, see you at your worst, and you can just relax and be yourself. And so every step of the way, especially inside the community, Jason was communicating with them like, hey, here's what's going on. Like, and the community was so supportive. And I really do believe that some people, especially the pre-order people, like didn't cancel because they were like, you know what, this I'm enjoying what I'm getting, but B, like, I want to support these people that I care about and I want to see them get back on their feet, and I'm enjoying this community. And so I think that was really key. And I know it was key for them knowing that when I got healthy again, they were going to get some amazing things because they trusted us.
Yeah.
But they just knew that in the interim, that's why they're not getting ongoing.
Yeah. And I know it can be hard if you're someone who maybe doesn't have like a bunch of products and services that people get access to that they can like keep them busy, if you will, essentially. Or if you're a one-person business and you don't have someone to take over, that can be really hard. But I do think I would really push anybody listening to this show or watching this show. I imagine that you're the type of person who attracts an audience that will be okay with the fact that you are honest about life not being perfect, and you can be yourself, and you can say, hey, I need to take a break for a couple months, and people aren't going to just unsubscribe and delete and cancel and all that stuff. They're going to stick around because they're there for you and you are providing value.
Yeah, and maybe some people do leave, but the ones that do stick around are the ones that are going to support you going forward.
They're your forever peeps.
Forever peeps.
Number 6.
Okay, number 6. So we launched small products to get a cash injection when we needed it. So this specifically, I'm talking about Thicket, but this is... And BASFA. This is around the end of the summer where I have figured out a little bit of the nutrition aspect. I'm
starting to feel like a human.
Starting to feel like a human again. You can see that I'm healing.
We have a photo of you standing in the dog bed. That was a good turning point.
Enjoying the sunset, yeah. And so I started, we discussed me kind of coming back on only a couple of hours a day basis. What can I do? And I was coming out of this like deep dark hole. So it was really about what work can I do that I am going to enjoy and not feel anxious about. And at the time I just had this itch to do design. And so we had this idea to do a design series on YouTube. You may have watched some of the videos, and to launch this Squarespace template at the end of it.
Yep. Yeah. So this was really just one of those things where I was already doing the experiments. I was doing the community management for Wandering Aimfully, all of those things, writing the weekly emails, like everything to keep that part of the business going. And this was an opportunity where you were like, I can't do any of that stuff because it really stresses me out and I don't want to open my laptop and look at all those things. What can I do? And so we just kind of carved out a little space for you to create something that could create a cash injection, as we said. And it was just really helpful to, we didn't make a ton of money, and it wasn't...
we made like $3,000?
Oh no, we made a total of $6,000 between the two.
There you go.
Yeah, but we had expenses, so it's not like that we just walked away with that money.
Oh,
but
between the two.
Yeah. So we had two...
I honestly forgot we did Galactic.
BASFA.
Yeah.
BASFA. Everyone loves BASFA. So yeah, these Squarespace templates were a really good exercise for you to be able to come back into work mode. I think it was also a really great way for you to ease ease back into working.
Yeah.
Because if you had just gone right back into all the stuff with Wandering Aimfully, there's a lot of pressure. I think there's probably a lot of guilt that you would have had. And this got you into something where it could provide value. It was interesting content for us to talk about.
Right. And then everyone inside the membership got it. So, and honestly, at that point, we were still on this a little bit of a hamster wheel where we were like, in order to make this membership worthwhile for people, we need to keep adding to it.
Right.
Like we were like, we're going to add, Build Without Burnout in January. We're going to add Thicket.
And more on the products side of things. So we actually have to like build a full product to add to it.
Which is going to come back into play when we talk about another item.
Ooh.
But anyway, we were still in that mentality where it was like, okay, well, we know the thing that works is that we always get an injection of people when we have a new product. And so that was more about a cash injection, not getting memberships. But anyway.
What's really fun, I looked at this the other day. I think out of the about 100 people purchased our Thicket Squarespace template, 10% of those people converted to coaching.
Oh, that's
our
neat.
new coaching program. So it was almost like their lead-in. Oh,
Yeah.
there's a feather in the wind. It was almost like their lead-in product to us, and I think that they realized the thoroughness, the attention to detail in that Squarespace template was unbelievable, and that basically showed them like, okay, yeah, for $100 a month, like I want these people to tell me what to do with my business and things to show up every month. So.
Yeah, and I also, the note that I want to make as well is that sometimes in our business, we call this legacy versus longevity. There are times where you want to work on the legacy thing, which is the thing that for us well, now it's coaching, but for us it was the membership. It's like the big thing at the end of the rainbow that we're trying to get to is like this enough number. It's our core product that we're really proud of. But sometimes you have to swing the pendulum back to longevity, which is getting a cash injection, which is going to give your business the runway to be able to work on the legacy thing. Does that make sense? So like sometimes you have to kind of put the thing that is your baby on the back. You got to put the baby on the back burner.
Oh, that's a thing to say. Yeah.
Don't put the baby on the stove, but metaphorically, put the baby on the back burner so that you can do something that can get you some quick cash in order to give you a little bit more.
I think anybody who watches this or listens who has clients knows that like pull of, I just want to work on my digital product or this thing or this passion, but I need to get one more client because I've got to be able to bridge the gap between the finances that I need to pay down whatever things that came up. And that's okay. That's just part of this entire journey.
Yeah, I think of it as like you have like a card game and you have these cards, and sometimes anyone who likes card games knows you got to play a card at the right time in order to win the game.
What card?
Longevity.
No, what card is it?
It's the Ace of Spades.
Wow.
And then other times you got to play your legacy card so you can fill your bucket back up and you can be excited about your business. And so you just got to play your cards at the right time.
Cool.
Okay. Number 7. This is a big one. We're about to get some momentum heading into the end of the year, guys. We repositioned our offering from a membership to a coaching program. Let's talk about the decision to do this. About the time that I started actually being able to think about our business again, which was, let's say, August, September, we had so many conversations about like, okay, we've had this feedback for so long now that people are just feeling like in the membership space, $100 a month feels like expensive. And I remember reading this Medium article. I wish maybe we'll link it somewhere.
Probably not.
About
just being honest.
I had this like strategic like intuition that we needed to reposition our product, not as a membership, but as something else. So I was like Googling repositioning and how to reposition your product. And I remember somebody saying in this Medium article, like, it matters what category you put yourself in the way that people see the value of your product. So $100 as a membership, when people are comparing it to recurring revenue, things like Netflix and Hulu and even other business memberships.
Yeah, like I think Fizzle is one a lot of people know about it. Maybe if they're even comparing Wandering Aimfully.
Do you know how much they are?
$35.
Okay, or like a Skillshare, all these like other professional kind of membership things. And $100 then seems very expensive. Although we believe, first of all, you're getting a Teachery subscription in it, so it's like that's $50
a piece
alone.
Of software, yeah.
And so, but we, it was very hard to communicate that. So we were like, okay, how can we reposition this as something where it's a similar product, but we're putting it in a category where people don't suddenly go, oh, that's an expensive membership. They go, oh, that's actually a really affordable coaching program.
Yeah. And part of this for me especially was just really honing in, and we had multiple conversations about this in 2019, which is like, what do we do for people?
Correct.
What, like, just at the very like bottom line, like, what is the foundational thing that we bring to other people in the world? And it is to help them understand how to navigate the murky waters of online business and how to have more fun with it, how to grow their revenue intentionally, how to have more time in their life and not just focus on business and growth and all those things. And I was already doing so much of this in our Slack channel, via email with our members.
Coaching people, telling them what they need to work.
Yeah.
The thing that I think we're really good at that we plucked out is your type of personality is so direct and so the opposite of second guessing that you had this amazing ability to imprint your confidence into someone else and say, forget about all the million things swirling around in your head. Here's what you need to focus on.
Yep.
You have to build up your content in order to do this X, Y, and Z goal that you've said. And you just have like a clarity that people I think really resonate with, and that's hard for a lot of people. That is coaching.
Yeah, for sure. And it was I wrote a full article about the mindset shift that I had to go through to be okay calling myself a business coach, because you really get lumped in. You want to talk about mental categorization, you can quickly get lumped into a whole group of people that don't feel like they have any business being business coaches.
Right. They're just selling secondhand knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, we really didn't want to be lumped into that category.
But the way that I reframed it, going back to a sports metaphor, was, and I played basketball up until the collegiate level, and there just becomes a certain point when you don't have a love to play the game anymore. Maybe your body's worn down, maybe you just have done it for a long time, or maybe you just want to move on. But then you can naturally move into coaching other people who have a love to play the game. And when I thought about it that way, I was like, oh, that actually makes sense. Like, I've been in business now for almost 15 years. I've created all these different things. I've done all this stuff. I have so much knowledge and experience I can share, and the directness, the practical application of these things. But I also, and one thing that I realized too, which was, I don't get as excited about us making a sale anymore as I do as helping someone make their sale.
Exactly.
And that was a big shift for me to go, oh, okay, well, I think that means that I actually should lean into being an unboring business coach, and we find our own way to do this and have fun with it.
Yeah, so during that time, we did a lot of things. So we, just conceptually, yes, repositioned it. We did a lot of work on kind of starting at the brand from at the very beginning, like what's our messaging, who are we going for, etc. We redesigned, we did a couple of like brand refresh things. We redesigned the sales page so that it was clear that we were selling coaching. We, what else did we do? So we made it very clear, like, what is the product? So we, planned out these unboring coaching sessions.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember, we did have this idea to do these immersives, like more intensive.
Yeah, because we put one on the homepage for a while just of like, ooh, would you be interested in this, and see if people would be interested.
Yeah, but instead we decided, okay, we're actually going to do these monthly sessions. Here's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get this workbook. You're going to get a 2-hour live session, a theme every month, that kind of thing. And we really like planned that out of what does that look like. And then something also that I wanted to share that I think was interesting is we positioned it not as $100 a month, but as it's a $600 program for 6 months that you pay in $100 installments. And what that does is it really encourages people not to churn out.
Yeah, knock on wood, we have not had a single coaching person who's signed up cancel yet.
Exactly, which is very different from the high churn of the $100 membership. And I think that is proof, A, that the repositioning was a good move, and then B, that we're actually delivering something that people find valuable.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of those things where we couldn't have known this in the beginning, so we just kind of had to go through, test a bunch of things, try a bunch of things, kind of figure out, and maybe coaching won't be the thing that we do in 2021. Like, maybe this will just be the thing for the next year, but we're okay with it being the thing now because we really enjoy it. Our members really enjoy it. It was a natural transition for people who are already paying us to just be like, hey, you're kind of getting the same thing. Don't worry about, your payments aren't going to change. Nothing's going to happen with that. It's just we're calling it something different on the front end. And then we've also kept the kind of membership lifetime deal thing as its own, called Wandering Aimfully Unlimited. And so the business kind of strategy here is someone buys a 6-month coaching package, and at the end of the 6 months, they can upgrade to Wandering Aimfully Unlimited and just apply that $600 to the total that they would pay. Or they can do coaching again, or you can just jump right to Wandering Aimfully Unlimited if you want.
Yeah. So we touched on this a little bit, but moving on to number 8, we streamlined our homepage and clarified our messaging. So this is, I said it a little bit once we decided we were going to do unboring coaching, but it makes me so happy, like, when I see people in our community or on social basically repeating the messaging that we are putting out there. Like
Yeah.
that's how you know that your messaging is clear and resonant. So people will say, I love their unboring coaching. I love their unboring coaching. Like this idea of adding the unboring to it is just our little way of sneaking in a differentiator so that people know this is not a regular coaching program that you see everybody else on the internet. Like we make it super fun. We have a theme every month. We are silly, we are goofy so that you can learn in a fun way things to focus on in your business. And so people are doing the hard work of telling that story for us because we intentionally reiterate the unboring coaching program everywhere.
Yeah, and it becomes an easier story to tell.
Exactly.
So the membership, the Wandering Aimfully membership, is very hard to describe. And we would even hear that from people like, I don't know how to tell a friend about this.
Yeah.
Like, I want them to join, but I don't even know what to tell them other than just, hey, you should do this, which fortunately worked a couple times. But this becomes really easy for people to go, hey, you're an online business owner. You don't care about creating a 7-figure business every single month of your life. You want to work with people who seem like they care. They're authentic. They're real. They're not having these perfect lives all the time. This is a great place for you. You can feel like you're in a safe space and you don't have to feel comparison traps and imposter syndrome and all that stuff.
Yeah, and we also, I think, narrowed in on these like 3 very clear outcome statements of grow your revenue, gain more free time, have more fun. And that's sort of our way of taking something that's very broad. We help you do all sorts of things. Gain your confidence, feel less lonely in your business, define your values.
Start a podcast. There's just so many
all
things.
Of these like tactical things, but we had to kind of narrow that down into a story that people could retell, like Jason said. And so those are the 3 things that we kind of went with. And it's fun to see how that has really stayed true. And we even work it into our coaching program sometimes of like, these are the 3 things that you're trying to do. So I think the messaging really worked. And then also the streamlining the homepage, we stripped everything down to just a very simple, like started from scratch and just said, what if it was just 1 page above the fold? What would that be? And that's where we did our unboring coaching for intentional online business owners. These are our 3 outcome statements, and we did the quiz experiment. I don't know if
Yeah, that was one of the experiments that we've done. It's probably going, well, I guess it'll still be up for a little while, but we're just really trying to have this homepage be something that stays extremely focused. One of our sessions that we did during coaching was about optimizing your website, especially your homepage. And we kind of went through all this kind of workflows and ideas of how to do that and why to do that, because so many people, us included, have these long homepages that talk about all these things. And it's just not important. You really want to get right to the heart of what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and it's fine if they're long, but I think a lot of people are not, us included, are not focusing on telling the story of how their business helps their customer. Instead, they're telling the story of who they are as a business. And it's just not compelling enough for someone to say, I want to hire them or buy from them or whatever.
And also, one clear action to take.
Right.
So stop giving people all the blog posts, all the contact me's, all the look at my work, all these things. Just like the homepage can serve one purpose, and we're seeing that is really starting to pay off for us.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so
2 left, 2 key decisions.
2 key decisions left. So number 9, we over-delivered on our offering and prioritized the customer experience. So I have never created something that people so overwhelmingly give a positive response to.
You're talking about the coaching sessions?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And this is something that I have talked about with multiple people now, which is we've done live video in some form with teaching or whatever for years, dating all the way back for me to 2010, I think was the first time I ever did like a business workshop. And nothing has resonated as much as these coaching sessions are. And I think it's really because it is fitting a really nice area of coaching that people don't normally get, which is it's practical, there's a lot of mindset, it's fun, it's engaging, it's interesting, and we also really do go above mind. These workbooks that you create, people rave about them. It's like a 40-page handcrafted workbook for every single one of these sessions. Probably too much that we're putting into
Doesn't
it.
matter. Well, this is the point that I wanted to share is like, and what I want some good snores.
Good snores.
What I want other people to take away from this is what I mean by over-delivered is we were incredibly thoughtful about the experience. So we were like, we're not just going to do a live workshop like we've done before. I told you when we were brainstorming, I remember distinctly we were having the meeting of like, okay, what's it going to be like? You know, what is going to be included and everything. And I said, I want this day, this coaching day every month to be the day that people are the most excited about their business, because that is what will keep them staying on, is if they want to experience that feeling on a recurring basis. Because everybody knows you go to a live environment or you go to like a live event, to me, that was the equivalent, where you feel so inspired, so alive, so on fire for your business. And then the day-to-day life and monotony kind of, you know, you fall off the wagon. But I was like, if this is a place where people can come every month, not to mention the Slack being an extension of that, where people feel excited and inspired, and then I know that we will have something that people will stick around for. And so that was my intention. And you and I together were able to create that in the curriculum, in these custom illustrations that I do for everyone. We have what's called story time in every session, where it's some metaphor or some illustrated story that we've created that tells the story of whatever we're trying to teach. And that's where my like, I wanted to be a teacher growing up like thing comes into play. But I truly love creating these curriculums for people, these like mental things that they can remember, so that they can go, oh, it's not just marketing, it's a bridge, and here's my customer, and here's my castle. And it's like, oh, it's not just a website that I can create for 3 months. It's I'm a wizard and I can make changes, and these like mental stories that people can kind of grab onto. So I think by investing our time into making that great, we were able to create momentum and traction.
Yeah, and I think it keeps people coming back every month, wanting to show up, wanting to learn, wanting to invest time in their businesses. And then the core piece for me that I really see that I think a lot of people lose out on, whether they're in a coaching program or whatever else, is we have this Slack community that is just so supportive. And so people, I think it was last month, were just sharing their homepage redesigns they were doing. And even if they weren't great, and even if they knew that they needed a lot more work, people were so encouraging and people were so helpful, and people were willing to say, oh, this wasn't clear to me, and I think it would be better like this. And that is also the kind of the fun of coming off of a live event. You feel like you're maybe a little bit in a silo. Like you have all this energy, but you don't really have anybody to share it with.
Yeah.
This, you have all these people who are trying to do the same thing that you are. They want to help you succeed, and they want to be there for you. And of course, we're there too to help keep that going.
Or maybe accidentally redesign their homepage for them in XD and give them the file.
A couple of people got that little gem. All right.
If you catch me on a good day, you never know what you're going to get.
Key decision number 10, Carol. We've come to the end.
We honed our processes and became brutally discerning in choosing what projects to take on. So by the end of the year, I feel like we were in such a good place. I was feeling better with my health. We had really gotten some boosts in our revenue. We were feeling good about coaching. And the last like 3 or 4 months of the year, we really focused on processes.
Yep.
And being consistent and trying to look for all the kind of miscommunications and, for lack of a better term, the holes in our processes where we could fix them so that we could run more efficiently. And also knowing that one of our biggest pitfalls is kind of the double-edged sword that I was talking about with the legacy and longevity thing, is going, oh, hey, shiny object, let's create X, Y, and Z for some quick cash, but then it pulls us away from our main
Or let's create
priority.
X, Y, and Z for an idea that we have that we're excited about, and that pulls us away from the main priority.
We have, at any given moment, 10 ideas that are floating around
ideas.
that are good ideas that we could be working on, but we're only 2 people, and we have to sustain this business that we get to create this sustain this business, but it's like we always want to like, what's the new thing we can create? So I think what we have done is really created a lot of processes like our monthly planning.
Yep.
So we set intentions every single month. We have a process every single month. We've utilized Asana way more to actually keep track. We're going to do that way more in 2020.
Breaking big tasks into small bite-sized to-dos.
With our patented new process that we're going to tell you about next year.
Ooh. Do you want to give them the name?
Mm-hmm. It's PUTE. We love acronyms here.
Yeah. It's too many acronyms.
I won't tell
It's
you
great.
what it is, but it started out as PUTE, and then I realized that it needed another, and then I realized that another step included T, and then I thought it's PUTE.
Yeah.
But you got to say PUTE.
PUTE. You got to say PUTE.
It's cute PUTE. What other things? Like just a ton, meetings every single week.
Yeah, so we do it. No, we do a stand-up meeting every day.
I know, but like our Monday meetings.
Yeah. We over communicate. We try and plan out more than we should, and we're going to do even more than that next year. One of the big focuses that this year was just getting you back into the fold of working and feeling comfortable and confident. And then I think we've, in a couple different occasions, gone too far on too many hours worked, and we don't want to do that. So we're really trying to look forward in 2020 of getting ahead of ourselves, reducing the amount of things that pull at our attention at any given moment and saying, this month is X. And that's why we're saying our podcast is not coming back until March. Because as much as we want to bring it back in January when it's exciting, oh, it's a new year, it's not going to fit in our timeline because we're only going to be pushing other things back that are going to lead to more hours worked, more time, more stress.
I'm really proud of us because at the end of November, we had this great idea for bringing the podcast in January. We were going to do a whole campaign around it. Yada, yada. It was yay, yay, yay. We did one of our processes. We sat down and we said, what would it take to actually execute on that? And it would take us working our butts off in December and probably burning out. And as we learned this year, that's bad. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
That is what we are trying to avoid. So I think what we've learned from all of this, was we just did our kind of year in review. All of those different decisions, step by step by step, not having some grand vision that we were trying to work towards. We were just trying to keep ourselves afloat and operating on a month-to-month basis because sometimes when life kicks you in the teeth, that's what you have to do. And we were still able to grow the business from $7,000 a month to $13,600 a month, which is on our way to our enough number. And we're really proud of that, really proud of that. And I think next year, our goal is to continue to search for ways that we can sell Wandering Aimfully, the coaching, in a more sustainable, ongoing way. So we have some ideas about that. It's to stay really focused and to plan way ahead.
Yeah, we want to get ahead of ourselves. I think we also really want to push ourselves to do some creative things, but we have to figure out where those fit in and how they fit into the overall vision because while it's great to do the shiny and fun stuff, if the business is not running efficiently, smoothly, growing the way that we want intentionally, you throw a creative thing in there.
We got to get the longevity up a little bit before we can do the legacy.
Yeah. Okay, so hope this was helpful for you to see the 10 things that really helped us grow our business in 2019 while having the roughest year of our lives together. We were able to come through. I'm very proud of you for navigating an incredibly difficult year health-wise.
Thank you. I'm really sincerely grateful for you and all that you did for me this year. And I think that, all of this is a lot in part to you. And the fact that you kept it going while I wasn't able to. And
that's why we're a good team.
I know. Yeah. And it was a year of confirming why we decided to combine businesses in the first place and why we decided to become a team.
Because we are
better to get her.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah. So we were actually, one of the notes that we have here was we were going to go over our 2019 and year in review numbers, but I'm going to skip that. I'm actually going to say, if you want to get that, you can get it in our Unboring coaching program because we're going to do a reflect and project is our next coaching session, which is really exciting because we're kind of cleaning up 2019, setting you up for an awesome 2020. And you don't even know that I'm going to do this, but next year with our podcast, we're going to be our own podcast sponsor, and we're going to do something fun in every episode.
Oh,
and we're going to I'm going to test it here.
You didn't tell me that.
I know. So one thing that we're going to do is in our podcast, promote our own Unboring group coaching because we're not going to do sponsors next year. And you can get $50 off the first month of coaching. And we're going to give you a promo code. So if you've listened this far, if you've been thinking about joining Wandering Aimfully in some capacity, this all sounds great. You're really excited. You want to kind of get on board, get ready for the new year.
You can join before the December session, which is next week.
You'll also get it if you were to watch this after and whatever. So what promo code do you want to use?
You didn't decide already?
No, I was going to give it to you.
I think we should go with the OG.
All right, go for it.
Do you know how to spell it?
Yeah. So use promo code CASPER. CASPER. It'll be up on screen for you to get $50 off your first month. And yes, that is a nod to Casper Mattresses being a sponsor of so many podcasts. We're not going to do sponsors, but we are going to maybe use some of those names as our own promo codes. So,
which is silly, but I thought to myself like, oh, it is a little bit like free promo for them. So we have to vet these companies.
Yeah,
we have to make sure they're good.
Our friends use a Casper mattress and they love it, so it's fine. So just go to wanderingaimfully.com/join. If you're ready to check out, you can use the promo code Casper, and that will get you $50 off your first month. And it's actually off either coaching or Wandering Aimfully Unlimited, so you can choose whichever you want to do. And we're going to promote our own coaching program because we are so excited about it. We've seen so much awesome progress in the first couple months. Our members are loving it, and we are loving you guys. If you are a Wandering Aimfully person, whatever level it is that maybe you've joined us on this journey, we are so grateful for you. One of the things that has helped us grow this business is people like you being there, staying there, talking about the community, showing up, sharing your journey as well, and we just love it. We love you guys. We really do. do every day, especially me. I look forward to getting up and interacting with our community, helping, being there, listening, watching.
I look
It's
forward
just
to
really
getting
fun.
up and creating stuff for you guys. So
Yeah.
we appreciate you so much, and we hope that this podcast episode, while it satisfied that little bit of, oh, what have Caroline and
Yeah.
Jason been up
Where
to?
are they?
But we also hope that it gave you 10 really kind of practical things that you can look at in your own business. And, you know, I don't wish this upon anyone, but should you come upon a year that was really tough, like this year was for us, just know that not only can you survive, but you can actually thrive at the end of it. So
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching or listening. We'll be back with consistent video/podcast content in March. Maybe a couple little videos trickled in there if we find the time. But otherwise, we appreciate you. If you haven't already, leave a review on whatever podcast app you use, or just subscribe on YouTube. Tell a friend.
and
That's it.
happy holidays, whatever you celebrate.
Yeah.
We'll see you.